Meanwhile, in Nepal, things are getting out of hand. The government is falling apart. This high political drama, the fragile coalition, barely 2 months old, has broken. None of this is new to Nepal, but that's hardly a consolation. They say politics makes strange bedfellows. Nepal is a textbook example. Strange alliances have been stitched up to take power, only to be broken in a few days or weeks or months. We'll tell you about this in detail, but first let's bring you up to speed with the current crisis. At the center of the drama is this man, Kamal Dahal, also known as Prachanda. He is the Prime Minister right now. He stitched a 7-party coalition to come to power, 7 parties. And that was barely 2 months ago. And now 3 of his allies have walked out of the government. This includes his largest ally, the party led by former Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli. Why did they leave? Oli's party says Prachanda's behavior made it difficult for them to continue.
The Prime Minister directed the Foreign Minister to cancel her foreign trip. It did not seem appropriate to us to stay in the government after he asked to leave the government voluntarily or work as a minister without portfolio. So the party has decided to leave the government and withdraw our support.
So what really happened? You see, the election for Nepal's next president is due. It is scheduled for the 9th of March. The opposition fielded Ram Chandra Paudel as its candidate. Oli's party fielded a man called Subhash Nembang. And here's the twist. When the time to offer formal support came, Prachanda picked the opposition's candidate. Basically, he ditched his own ally, KP Sharma Oli. And that has left them angry. Prachanda has been accused of betraying the understanding among all his allies. But then again, why did Prachanda do it? Why did he jump ship? Reports say he wanted a national consensus among all parties, a consensus to share posts like president and vice president amicably. But his idea was shot down by Oli. Now, with Prachanda's latest experiment in tatters, another party is back in the game. It's called the Nepali Congress. It's the single largest party in Nepal's parliament, led by another former Prime Minister, Sher Bahadur Deuba. He is now critical to the survival of this government. Without his support, the Prime Minister will not be able to continue. And the Prime Minister will face a no-confidence vote. So that's where things stand right now, which brings us to the larger problem in Nepal's politics. It's basically a game of musical chairs and the unabashed hunger for power. A bunch of leaders take turns to lead the country. Then they fight, the government falls, the chaos continues, and the people pay the price for it. You see, Nepal has a checkered political history. Unstable government is the norm. Sample this. Since the year 2008, which is when Nepal became a republic, it has seen 11 prime ministers. In the last 8 years alone, 7 governments have changed. 7 governments in 8 years. And every change follows the same pattern. Power has been concentrated in the hands of 3 individuals. Who are these people? First is Kamal Dahal, who heads the Communist Party of Nepal, the Maoist Centre faction. He's been Prime Minister twice, and this is his 3rd stint. Then there's KP Sharma Oli. He heads the Marxist-Leninist faction of the Nepal Communist Party. He's been Prime Minister twice too. And then there's Sher Bahadur Deuba, again a 2-time Prime Minister and leader of the Nepali Congress. None of them has completed a full term in power, not one Prime Minister. And that's because they're busy toppling the other person's government. Take this current government, for instance. The Nepalese general elections last year threw up a hung parliament. There was no clear winner, meaning no party had a clear majority. Prachanda won 32 seats. He was reportedly in talks with Deuba's party to form a government. Deuba was all set to be the next Prime Minister of Nepal, but then Prachanda dumped him at the 11th hour, and he went with KP Sharma Oli to become the Prime Minister himself.
I'm feeling very happy and proud. There's a lot of responsibility and challenges. I've felt this.
Feeling happy and proud, he said. But what about the people of Nepal? What does this political drama cost them? You see, voters vote for a stable government, hoping to see stable governance in return. But if power-hungry leaders are busy breaking and making alliances, what can one expect? You may remember these visuals. They're from last month. 72 people died in Nepal's worst aviation accident in 3 decades. Reports say it was due to an engine problem, but this accident also highlighted the negligence by Nepal's political class, how lack of reform and action is killing the aviation sector, and that too in a country that depends so heavily on tourism. Which brings us to Nepal's economy, crashing like its planes. The Nepali rupee is weakening against the US dollar. Banks are struggling to recover loans. I could go on, but you get the point. Prachanda may or may not survive the latest political turmoil. But power-hungry politicians are taking a toll on the country. The Prime Minister may change, the story may not.